The drama continues in the I-League. You would remember it was under controversial circumstances that Churchill brothers were declared the winners of the I-League. That is something that didn't go down well with the team that had provisionally finished second. They ultimately finished sixth. I'm talking about Inter Kashi. And today is a big win for Inter Kashi in the Court of Arbitration of Sport, which is where they took two appeals. What has happened today is that they've gone ahead and won their first appeal. Now, does that necessarily mean that they will now be declared the champions of I-League 2024-2025 season? Well, not yet. But if the second verdict is also to go their way, then perhaps that dream of theirs to win the I-League will perhaps become a reality. We'll discuss both the cases one by one, but let's first talk about the case at hand, which has resulted in a victory for Inter Kashi. Let me first remind you of the case and then I'll tell you what is it that the AIFF and the CAS both have said. The first case pertains to their match against Namdhari FC, in which there was an ineligible player that had taken part. It was a player that had gotten 4 yellow cards, and that is something that the club had objected to. Whatever happened in terms of point deduction is a thing of the past. I'm not going to delve too much into it. But what it meant for the club was that the AIFF had deducted 3 points from their overall tally. So, from what could have been a 42-point scenario for them, well, from 42, they came down to 39 points and they went ahead and lost another 4, which is where the second case comes in. So now what has happened as a result of this ineligible player around whom this whole controversy had first erupted, in that particular case, those 3 points have now been restored and the case has now been won by Inter Kashi FC. This is what CAS has said in its verdict, which has gone in favor of Inter Kashi. They have gone ahead and said that the appeal filed on 24th of April 2025 by Inter Kashi FC against against the decision issued on 18th of April 2025 by the appeal committee of the AIFF is now upheld. The decision issued by the appeal committee of the All India Football Federation has now been set aside. Now, this is exactly what the CAS has said. Let me tell you what is it that the AIFF said once this verdict came out. The AIFF in its communication has said that the Court of Arbitration for Sport on the 17th of June upheld an appeal filed by Inter Kashi FC against a decision issued on the 18th of April by an independent committee. The AIFF followed the orders and implemented the decision of the independent committee and will now follow the CAS orders and implement its decision. Now, what this essentially means is those 3 points that were taken away in case number 1 from Inter Kashi FC, those 3 points have been restored. So, for a club that had finished in 6th position eventually at 35 points, they now get to 38 points. And this is where things become interesting, because if the second case ruling also goes in favor of Inter Kashi FC, then from 38, they could possibly go to 42 points. Now, where do these 4 points come from? These 4 points were deducted from their overall tally right towards the end of the season, after in fact they had taken matters to the CAS with regards to the case that we just discussed. It was then that they were deducted 4 more points, and this time these 4 points were deducted over re-registration of a player named Mario Barco. It was around him that there was a little bit of an issue with regards to his registration. There was a change of regulations and that required the player to be re-registered, and owing to that they had lost 4 points. So, if this ruling is to go in their favor, then Churchill brothers will also end up losing 2 points and their tally from 42 will come down to 40. And if the ruling goes in favor of Inter Kashi, as I just said, then from 38 they go to 42 points, and that's when they'll be declared champions of I-League 2024-2025 season. But today is the day that they'll be very happy with, because they won half the battle, but there is still more work to be done. There is still another case to be won if Inter Kashi are to become eventual champions.